Process flow. Process flow is also called as workflow. It gives us the steps of the process of any functionality to be achieved. It is represented by writing activity diagram in unified modeling language. Coming to activity diagram is a behavioral diagram of UML. It is used to represent process or workflow which is written at the behavioral view. Activity diagram can be written either at the analysis or design phase. Essentials of active diagram. An active diagram starts with an initial node. The initial node represents the starting point of the diagram. It is represented by a filled circle. It ends with a final node. The final node represents the ending point of the diagram. Decision. A decision is represented by a bull's eye. Actions. Initial node represents the precondition. Final node represents the postcondition. In between the initial and the final node are the actions. Action represents the steps that are taken in an activity. Actions are represented by rounded rectangles. As given in representation, first one is a filled circle, which is an initial node. Second one is rounded rectangle, represents action. Third one, bullseye, is decision. Next one is transition. In activity diagram, we connect one action to another or initial to final is by using straight line with arrow ahead called transition. Other representation. Arrowed lines called paths. The diamond box represents the decision symbol. The vertical or horizontal parallel lines are called swimlanes. Actions are the steps in completion of a process. Activity is the process which is being moduled. We will see an example for applying for leave. Here is the representation of activity diagram for leave application, where applying for leave is activity and taken leave form, fill form, submit for approval or actions. Circle with fill at starting is initial node and bullseye at last represents the final node, which is decision. Next one is decisions and merges. Decisions are used when we have to execute a different set of actions based on a condition. The example of activity diagram for the same application leave with the decision and merges is as follows. The braced edge of the decision symbol contains a got condition written inside a bracket, if yes or if no. After submitting for approval, they may approve or reject the application. So we have to given a diamond representation with yes or no condition. If yes means approved and leave granted. If no means reject application, which is diverted to final node. Concurrency. It is parallel processing where many actions have to take place together for us to complete an activity. Concurrency is represented by synchronization bars. We'll take the same example of applying for leave. After submitting application for leave, they may check workload and check leave availability of particular person. As these two things are going on parallelly, we represent it by horizontal synchronization bar. It is called as forking, as it is dividing into two parts. After checking the workload and leave availability, if person meets the requirement for leave request is going to be approved, which means yes, again represented by horizontal synchronization bar, and it is called as merging, as it merges the parts and provides decision called grant leave. Grant leave is the final node. Next one is time events. It is used to represent a waiting period and schedule jobs by an hourglass symbol. For example, taking backup of data once in 24 hours. Swimlanes and partitions. Swimlanes are the logical partitions in an activity diagram which represent roles or groups. They are used when different groups or departments are needed to complete an activity and to show who is responsible for what actions. For example, if a college or university has registration system and billing system, student details need to be sent from registration to billing students. Complex diagrams can be merged by using connectors. Connectors can be used to manage complex diagrams which grow beyond a page, which are represented by empty circles.